What's up, everyone? So we're back with another free agency video, which some of you may be getting tired of, but it's hard for me to believe that free agency is really a topic that you can get tired of, because it's so interesting thinking of players that could possibly be on your team that weren't before, players that can come, help and benefit the Saints in a way that, we couldn't have imagined last season. And that's exactly why I'm covering free agency so much. I didn't cover it as much as I wanted to last year, or as much as I should have last year, so we're making up for it this year. We're going to cover every meaningful position, then we're going to do a couple of recap videos to end it off, and then on March 18th, which is in 14 days, when the new league year starts and free agency kicks off, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to cover every single transaction made by the New Orleans Saints that holds any sort of relevancy. Now, some of you may be thinking, why is he making a safety episode? We have Vonn Bell and Marcus Williams and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Saquon Hampton. That's all we need. Well, if you've been paying attention to Saints media lately, you know that Vonn Bell, our strong safety, is currently a free agent, an unrestricted free agent who just got a new agent. So, of course, he said he wanted to stay in New Orleans. If he didn't play in New Orleans, he wants to play for contender, which is okay. But, he said he wanted to stay in New Orleans, but every scenario isn't perfect. You got to brace for the possibility that Vonn Bell may not be a New Orleans Saint next year. So I wanted to go ahead and look for some free agents that could fill his spot and potentially give the New Orleans Saints another safety that we can bank on to pair with Marcus Williams to fill in that role. So, like I said, keeping Vonn Bell is the priority. I don't want to have to sign any of these guys, but if we end up losing Vonn, these are the players I'd like to select from. So the first player we have on this list is the picture, Anthony Harris. The Minnesota Vikings 28-year-old safety was tied for the NFL lead in interceptions with Stephon Gilmore, the All-Pro Defensive Player of the Year, and Tre'Davious White, who was an All-Pro as well, but Harris didn't even get a Pro Bowl nod, which is a little bit disrespectful in my opinion. On the surface, we can easily trace this back to the fact that White was a former first-round pick and Gilmore is overhyped as all get out. But Harris was a backup who eventually worked his way into being a replacement for strong safety Andrew Sendejo, and it's literally extremely impressive. Almost all of his interceptions are more impressive than the ones that Gilmore and Tre'Davious White had, especially based off the quality of opponent. Last season, Anthony Harris picked off Matt Ryan twice in week 1, then got interceptions off of Dwayne Haskins, Russell Wilson, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, and then in the playoffs, if you guys remember, he was the one that picked off Drew Brees, where he got his seventh interception of the year. Outside of Haskins, that list is very impressive and something that makes me think that he's just not one of those players that picks off during garbage time or goes against subpar quarterbacks and performs very well. He's someone that can go against the best and come out victorious in certain occasions. Anthony Harris at strong safety could bring the New Orleans Saints another star playmaker in the defensive secondary. Vonn has only had one interception in his entire career, which is a mark that Anthony Harris multiplied by 6 in just this season alone. Anthony Harris was ranked the 12th best player in the NFL last year, which means more than I can even put into words. He was a backup that really exploded. Statistically, he was fantastic. Here are his numbers. He nabbed 47 tackles, 6 interceptions, which is first among all safeties in the league, and only allowed 11 receptions. Wow. Those were amazing numbers that granted him a 90.5 Pro Football Focus grade, far better than any other season he had up to date, except for the 2018 season. He had an 89.5 Pro Football Focus grade, I believe. The only problem here, in my opinion, could be pricing. His market value is around $13 million a year, which is, that's a payday. We'll definitely see if we can make any moves or even show any type of interest in Anthony Harris. I believe that he could really be a piece that could take us over the edge if we do happen to lose Vonn Bell, because he, like I said, has that extreme ball hawk playmaking ability, even at that strong safety position. Now, let's move on to number 2, which is Jimmy Ward of the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Ward is one of the most versatile players in the defensive secondary positions, or any of the defensive secondary positions at all, in the National Football League. He can play every single position in the defensive secondary quite well. Strong safety, free safety, corner, yeah, all of it, he plays it. He and the 49ers have been butting heads because of the fact that he wants to be seen as a safety and not a corner. So, I mean, That's his want. As he enters his 7th NFL season, Ward is likely to attract some really big attention as a free agent. After missing the first 3 games of this season, Ward played the final 16 games, including 3 in the postseason. He has a clear vision for 2022. He no longer wants to be valued for his versatility. He's a safety and that's it. Jimmy Ward said this: "Yes, it's amazing, I can do other things too," he said, "but leave me at safety. That's what I love to do. That's what I'm most passionate about. Basically, if I don't work out with the 49ers, I'm going to look at any possibilities with teams that want me to play safety." And that's that. If the New Orleans Saints need a safety, they can easily slide Jimmy Ward into the conversation to play strong safety in 2019. Jimmy Ward had a very good season. Here are his numbers. In 2019, Jimmy Ward grabbed 48 tackles and only allowed 13 receptions. He didn't have any interceptions or forced fumbles, but his coverage grades were so good enough to give him an 84.5 Pro Football Focus grade, which is about almost 20 more than Vonn Bell. He was amazing in coverage. If he can just stay healthy, he might have a really good 3 to 4 seasons ahead of him. He can easily become one of the top safeties in the National Football League. Now let's move on to the third and final player that I have on this list, which is Karl Joseph of the Las Vegas Raiders, which still feels really weird to say. Karl Joseph is a former first-round pick, so his potential has always been noticed. He has just had a little bit of trouble harnessing it. It's no secret that he failed to live up to the hype of being a 14th overall pick, but last season was the season where he was finally starting to show some promise. That was until Karl Joseph went down with a knee injury after intercepting Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers in the final play of the Week 10 skirmish between the Las Vegas Raiders and Chargers. The main concern in Joseph's game is that he can't be lined up in coverage. To put it in basic terms, at 5'10", which is really short for a safety, when asked to be covering a taller and much lengthier player like a tight end, he has a very hard time. With that being said, he thrives in stopping the run. To no surprise to Mountaineer fans, Joseph is also known for his ability to legally take the life of an opponent with a vicious but clean hit at the same time. He is a very strong player, one that delivers extremely huge blows that are somehow barely street legal. He'll force a fumble or two, that's a promise. He's done a fantastic job at stopping the run, like I said, such a good job that it affected the Raiders' defense statistics as a whole. When Joseph was on the field, the Raiders held the opposing team's rush offense to just 87 yards per game. In his absence, the Raiders started allowing 119 rushing yards per game, which is a huge 30-yard difference. Now, Joseph isn't the only reason for that inflation in those before and after stats, but it is evident that the Raiders are much better defensively with Joseph on the field than without him. This is probably the most similar player, in my opinion, to Vonn Bell's play style. He won't go up and get you 5 interceptions, but he'll do a real good job at hitting players really hard and stopping the run and being that strong safety you need. In 2019, only playing 10 games, Karl Joseph put up 36 solo tackles, nabbed an interception which kind of ended his season, allowed 11 receptions for a 69.9 Pro Football Focus grade, which is almost exactly the same as safety Vonn Bell. So, when you look at this, what, in your opinion, would be the best situation for the New Orleans Saints? Would it be just to retain Vonn Bell, or would it be to sign one of these guys to a contract that doesn't completely cripple us? I think, in my opinion, Anthony Harris is the best safety on the board in free agency as far as filling our need goes. 6 interceptions at his position is absolutely insane, so seeing him become a New Orleans Saint would be very interesting. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know. I bought a planner recently to help really plan out this channel and get things going. One of my goals for this year is to hit 8,000 subscribers. We're already on our way, but just go ahead and subscribe and get us further and further on that mark. As you can see right here, Friday the 6th, we have a stream scheduled, so we're going to be starting streams back up. I think they're going to be an every Friday night thing. Let me know what you guys think down below. When should I do streams? Make sure to comment when you want me to do streams so I know you watched this far. On the 11th, we have a final top free agents to sign, which is pretty much a huge collection of everything we've covered for the free agent positions and all that fancy stuff. So let me know what you guys want to see. Comment down below. Do all that fancy stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode on the channel. We're going to be covering the draft very soon at the start of April, so make sure you stick around to see all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.